I have start the recording. So as everybody is aware that today we are going to cover the topic which is related to generic collection, delegate event, and
Code review.
the code review, and we will talk about some testing framework also. So as everybody know that we have enough time, no limitation of time. If somebody want to speak, we have to just maintain a decorum that we should speak one by one. And from yesterday class, I learned one thing: we should respect each other. If somebody is putting a question, right, we should not laugh at him. Like the last question, one person was asking about deadlock in async controller. So 1 and 2% was laughing at him, and he was right. When we done the Google, he was right. We should respect everybody. Respect is major concern, and once maybe we can learn something after some time also, but respect is major concern for each other, right? So anybody who want to speak about generic collection, or you can say that the difference between generic and collection. Anybody? Yeah, Dharmendra. Where are you, bro? Unmute yourself. Subhas, would you like to speak? Sirdar?
I think for generic collection, it's for high enumerable like that. Mostly the generic collection is used for any type of data type can be used. For that we can use. Am I right? Hello?
Pankaj, can
Yeah, one by one, everyone, please. Yeah, Bebo.
yes. So generic basically the collection where we means assign a memory to the data, right? In a which memory? We can assign a dynamic memory to the dynamically assigned memory to the collection of data. So the list of you can say means the generic is means related to means namespace means the system of collection dot generic, right? And uh, example you can say the list, queue, stack, like that. That's it, Pankaj.
Okay. So,
Hello. Yeah.
yeah, Sirdar, continue.
I'm.
So one humble
actually-
request: the person who is not speaking, they can go on mute, as I am also going every time mute, right? Please. Yeah, continue.
Actually, collections and generics is there. So why we use means generics means if you want to data type is like a specific type, like it is want to store for the data particular type, then we have to go for the generics. And then normal C# like different generic classes that are available, like list class available, some dictionary class available, some sorter list. So these are all the ways for the generic collections. We want to store a for any type, like if we want to store a for object type, then we have to use for the collections. In Sharp also different collection classes that are available, like array list, array, some stack, queue. So these are all the main difference is the like generics and the collections. The main purpose of the generics is to avoid the like overloading. Then we have to use for the generics only. So that's it. Nice.
Okay.
We can define means a generic type on the runtime, not a compile type. Means the CLR means is consider while means compile running the code means the type of whatever we are using means we are using means any class, anything else, right? So the type will means is defined in the runtime with the help of generic. So we don't know until and unless means the program is written.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, continue, Pradeep.
Yeah, Genrix is introduced in 2.0 framework. So basically, it is a work like if it's allow us to define a class or function. It's decoupled its logic to the its type. Means suppose that I have share one program.
Okay, Pradeep, continue.
Yeah, 1 minute. Hmm. Host is disabled and share. Actually, it's coming on the screen. Host is disabled to participant. Can you enable?
Yeah. Let me make you the. Let me make Pradeep Kumar, right?
Yeah.
How will you make you the host? Okay, you are now host. So Pradeep, if somebody is trying to join, right, you have to approve also. Pradeep, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
So if somebody is trying to join you, you have to approve them also in your Skype. Just go to Skype. Just go to Zoom. Go to Zoom. Can you open Zoom for 1 minute? Yeah, just open Zoom.
Okay. Yeah. My screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is visible. Can you open the Zoom? So you have to approve if somebody want to join you again, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Can you approve? 2 person is waiting.
Which menu?
Like Zoom. Can you open the Zoom? Can you share the Zoom again?
Yeah, actually, I didn't install the Zoom. So 1 minute. You can approve.
No, I cannot approve actually from here. To me, it is not coming. You are now host or not? So it will come to you only.
Yeah, it's approved now.
Approve. Now. So whenever new person is joining, you will get a notification. Just you have to approve. Okay, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Continue, Pradeep now.
Yeah, my screen is visible now.
Yes.
Yes. So here is one program. I have written this program. So basically, it's calculating some value, and it's return its value true or false. So in generics, before the generics, I have taken two values. First is the one value 10 and 11 is, and second is 11. So when I compare this value, so I pass the int and integer value, and second is also the integer. So when I compare value, it's return a true or false based on the value. So when someone is suppose has entered the string value, so this program is return the error. So yeah. Yeah. Any question?
No.
Continue.
Yeah. So so basically, generics is so one thing is doing to in this program we can suppose that I have compare data string A and B. So it will also not compare the value because we modified that value in make the string variable also here. So so in this program we basically solve the problem using by the generics. So in generics we can only here type we can pass the t for type here and t for type.
Now pass there string. Pass here string in the equal r equal t in place of t.
Yes,
Pass
sir.
here string.
Yeah. So basically when we pass the here the type of the function, so any value for in calculating the function. So generics is basically it's coupled the class or function to means it's a class and function to it's a type means we can pass here, we can pass integer, we can pass string here. So this function will make that type of calculating value. So basically generics is avoid the boxing and unboxing in our program, and it's also remove the performance degrading. It's improve the performance using by the generics, because in collection we are stored the in collection is stored any type of data. So it's to when we iterate the any collection, so we need the we need the to unbox that data, its type. Suppose that I have stored the string, so we can convert that type of string. So in generics we already defined the its type. So it's avoid the boxing and unboxing. That means it's already defined its type. That's all.
Yeah, Pip, sorry, Pip, can you share your screen again? Pass this
Yes.
value, type of value in place of t. I have given some hint in the chat also.
Yeah.
Just pass here, line number 23, 27. Pass here, type of value. Type right here, type ty. No, not here, not here, not here. Here it will be t. Here you can take it t. Here in type of r equal. Then you have generic, right? T type.
Yeah.
Here pass r equal. Yeah, here right. Type of value. Type of of value. Yeah, now compile this. What is
No,
the error now?
actually,
just remove the angle brackets inside the parameter. Inside.
sorry. Yeah, yeah,
Pass
I will,
here also. No, pass
I
here
will,
also. Type out.
actually, I will describe the next time better. So
No,
I
no,
think
no, no
some,
problem, no problem. We can continue here, no problem. And the same thing will happen with us also. If I will try, same thing will happen with me also. Because yesterday I
Okay.
was facing the problem in getter and setter, right? So don't worry.
Okay, okay, I'm taking some help from Google.
No, let me do something in the chat. Please copy from the chat.
Okay.
What happened? Let me type in the chat. Okay. Yeah, copy from the chat, please. Yeah, can you copy from the chat? Pradeep? And there one person will be there who is waiting for the approval. Can you approve him? Yeah, Pradeep, you can share your screen. We can see that what's going on. No, don't worry. That. And just pass this type of value in place of T.
Yeah.
Yeah, both places. Yes. Yes, here also. And remove this greater than and symbol also. Yeah. Yeah, line number 27. As an input which you have defined, Pradeep. No, the input which you have defined.
Yeah.
Line number 27.
From parameters.
Actually, you can discuss. I will give me 5 minutes. I will discuss.
Yeah, he's indicating you. Child is explaining something, right?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think your son is also looking into the code, right? Don't worry. Just remove this input parameter, this like bracket. Yeah, these two bracket. Remove this. Yeah, this one and then first one. No, I'm saying remove this.
Okay, give me 5 minutes, please.
Okay. Yeah, take your time, no problem. Meanwhile, we can continue about generic. So
Okay.
as we know that generic means we are going to provide a proper solution. Like there will be not that I will be able to insert string, date, time, string, decimal. So what we want that I have defined a method which can take the input as a string also, as a date also, as a date time also, means it can take any kind of data type. It is up to the user. Suppose same method I am using 5 place. Every place can give the input as per their requirement. So this is called generic. Means when I have given the implementation, at that time data type will be not specified. When I will give the input, when I will call that method, at that moment, their input will be decided. So what will happen? Suppose I am getting 10 different data types at different places. So I can put that code generic. If I will not make it generic, then I have to define 10 classes, 10 methods. It will very hectic for us and code will be larger. And this is one way to make our code more loosely coupled also, right? For example, array and array list. In the array, if I know that this data type will come and their size will be this, then we should go for array. If data type and size is not clear to me, then we should go for array list. And array list is part of generic. And
list is Pankaj sir, list is a part of generic.
Right, list is also part of generic, and we can define that as a generic.
But array list is like a collection.
Right. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Right. Here we need to do boxing, and boxing it different data type will come. Then we need to do boxing, and due to that, the performance get increased. Thank you. So anybody who want to add something related to generic? And the generic is list, dictionary, and generic queue also we can declare. And if I will declare normal queue, then hash table and array list, it is part of collection.
Sir, could you brief, please, one question at my mind. I not always differentiate with between array collection and generic collection. Collection and generic collection का difference मतलब clear नहीं हो पा.
Okay.
A generic collection or collection?
हाँ, एक collection होता है जैसे list of string हमने एक collection मतलब बना लिया हमने list मतलब और हम generic type बनाते हैं, तो इन दोनों में difference क्या होता है?
Difference like in collection we are storing any value as a like object, but in generic.
Pradeep, can you make me hold so that I can approve other person? One person is ready.
Yes. Yeah.
But in generic we can like store any value for a particular data type.
So, sir, I means that I have a list of integer, integer value, and one list for other list of string value. And if I write a program for this to make a generic collection, so how what I do? It will work for the for integer list and array list as well.
Yes, we can make a like generic, so it can store both of data type like integer as well as a string.
Yes.
Like the example that Pradeep sir showed, this type of we can create a method.
Like
particular collection.
if it's a generic type of collection, for example, the list is a generic type of collection. So while the time of declaration we assign whether it's a list of integer, list of string, or list of any object, it's the list is a generic type of collection. At the time of declaration, we assign it can be any value, but at the time the only one type of value, whether it's an integer or whether it's a object type or string type. But we can do for use list for any type. We can assign the list angular bracket integer or list in the angular bracket string, and that time it behaves dynamically depending on the what we have assigned the type of that type list generic type of list.
Means either we can make a different list, like list of integer or list of string, or we can make a simple generic like list of t type.
Actually, list is a generic type. That's why we can use it as a list of integer or list of any object or list of string or list of datetime type. Any type you can assign.
If you means
Hello. Generic is a type same. Okay.
Right.
When we storing the data, that time we need to define which type data we are going to store. So that's why it's a type same, and that's why when I fetch the data, that time ensure that we do not get the errors. So if before the storing we define which type data, that means we can store only that type data. That's why I called generic is a type safe. That's my side.
Like we have a queue and a stack, and we can make the queue also as a generic, and stack also as a generic, and hash set also as a generic. Dictionary we can also make that as a T type.
Yeah, correct.
And non-generic will be like simple array list, sorted list, and simple stack, queue, hash. These will be non-generic, means collection only.
Yeah, generics means which type of data I want to store. So before we storing the data, we can define its type. I think yes.
Yeah.
So now generic is clear to everybody. Gurdas? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
To reply that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then let's move toward delegate. Anybody who want to speak about delegate?
Delegate, basically this is the most common interview question.
Right.
Like, and delegate is like the main use of a delegate to it is used for callbacks when we are working with a multi-threaded environment.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is like example, like suppose we are having a we have to broadcast some messages, publisher messages, so we can publish our message to different receiver, from sender to different receivers. We can send our messages. So this is a like real-time example. Or suppose if you are searching any file inside our file explorer, so when you search any file, so it will pick some file and then get display the data from the folder to screen. So it is also a live example of a delegate.
Okay. So first of all, that delegate is very similar to function, right? And function pointer, and like in C and C++, we create the pointer. So pointer is like third party, right? So Microsoft have created a delegate, and delegate is also a kind of principal also. right? Like solid principle, encapsulation principle. We have one principle as a delegate principle. So what delegate is saying that don't perform all the tasks by self. Give some tasks to delegate also. Like whenever government of India or any government is going somewhere, sometimes they send the delegation also, right? US delegation, China delegation, some other country delegation, their delegation is coming. Like whenever Donald Trump was visiting our country, first he sent the delegation, right?
Correct.
So they are also performing the same task as a delegation. And they have some right to perform. So delegate is a reference type which can hold the reference of your method. And whenever we want to use the delegate, we have to take a namespace system.delegate. And here we have two category of delegate. One is single delegate, another is multicast delegate. In single delegate, we will specify only, we will invoke only one method at a time. And in multicast delegate, we can add more than one method inside delegate. So that will become multicast delegate. And whenever we are implementing more than one method inside delegate, their return type will be void. And the structure I have given for delegate, same structure will contain my method also. Then it will, whatever the input parameter will come inside delegate, that will automatically invoke inside my method. So how it will happen? When their data type will be same and return type will be same. In case only single delegate. In case of multicast delegate, it will be void, right? Because it will create the ambiguity, because one method can, their return type integer, another method can be string. So it will stuck. So that's why they have created that in multicast delegate, you have to provide as a void. No return type will be there. So anybody who want to add some more value related in delegate?
Yeah. Delegate provide callback mechanism and also can say asynchronous processing. And third is a delegate provide abstract and encapsulate method. We don't know about the what code written inside the delegate. We use only abstract type. So delegate provide abstract and encapsulate method.
Right. So delegate, right, provide encapsulate. Yeah.
Sir, in WPF, sir, we created the delegate for calling the command. So what is the meaning of that? We just when we want to save on a so there is a save button. We create the delegate command for save, similar to the type of save. So it on a click of the save button, delegate function call. So how it internally call the events delegate? How it is going to process? There, I have seen in my one application there regarding to the WPF application, in which delegate is using for the saving, for cancel button, each performing by the creating the every delegate command for each task, for performing any task.
Dharmendra, so
yes, sir.
If you wanna see about the delegate, you can refer delegate as a option of an action. It can work. It's an option for an action. So we write actions when we bind the actions. So delegate are used to make those bindings decouple type of thing. So as Pankaj told you that what is the meaning of delegate? If you'll see the meaning of delegate, you'll find that. So in a general life, when we say that, okay, this is my delegate, what it means, it can spoke on behalf of me, and it can listen on behalf of me, or it can perform any action on behalf of me. This is in general life what we say. Like if I say that Dharmendra is my delegate and I'm sending him anywhere. So whatever he knows that what I wanna what I wanna say and what I wanna ask, and all the pointer what he get, he'll give it to me at the end of the time. Okay,
Okay.
after a
Okay.
meeting. Okay, this is a word. This is a definition of delegate. So when we see it in a programming language, so everything what we are making in programming language nowadays is something from our outer world, how outer world perform. Okay, so there is an option when we say I'm clicking on button, so it will go on particular action and then it will performing the thing. But if I'm saying that, okay, he is a delegate, if I'm clicking on function, this delegate will work. Okay. So instead of putting that with that particular function or action, which is doing the save button work, what we are assigning it to delegate. So everything, and the major use of this putting the delegate anywhere is that if we are calling, we can call a same delegate from multiple places like a function, and it can be exposed also for doing anything, and it will be asynchronous. So if delegate is in a thread, it can be asynchronous. If it's not, it cannot be. So we can make it a choice that how we want to perform delegate at the end. So if you'll go with a literal meaning of anything, you'll find it easy. Means think on that. If you are sending somebody on behalf of you, what he can perform and how he can perform. So you are assigning him. Means you if in WPF we are registering delegate first. So if you are going with that program, what the solution, there is a registration of delegates where you are writing the different delegates and what the work they are doing, and at the end we are saying that, okay, instead of that action, it should perform through the delegate. Means that it's not coming to me directly, but it's performing the work whatever delegate is saying.
Okay, sir.
You're
Thank you, sir.
getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so go with the literal meaning of anything and you'll find it easy.
Okay.
Okay.
And another example which I can give, that whenever we are taking a leave, right? We say that, hey, I am going on leave on the behalf of me. Whatever the mail will come, please read out to this person, right? So means what? He is a delegate for me.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
one interview question. What is the generic delegate?
Good.
What is a generic delegate?
Yes, C# is provide, I think, 3 delegates, action delegate and predicate delegate, and
generic delegate means whatever the input you are
func
taking,
delegate.
that will be not bind to only one data type. When you are calling the delegate and when you are assigning the method, so method will also generate and your delegate will also generate, so that you can do the input at a time when you are calling that. You got the answer, Gurdas?
Yes, yes.
Means it will be generic. Any data type it can bind with any data type. It will be loosely coupled with for any data type.
Okay.
So basically, Shisha provided 3 types of generic delegates: func, action, and a predicate. And the basically func and func will take like 16 parameters input as an input and 1 as an output. So we can define like any data type as an input and return only the like that we like string type or an integer type. But in for action delegate, it can take like 16 input but no output. So it will return a void only. But third data type like a third generic type like predicate. So it will return only a true and false. So it will take only the 1 input and no output. Output means true and Boolean. So these are 3 types of generic delegates.
Means in case of generic delegate, it will return true or false.
In case of predicate, it will return a true or false.
Okay.
Or we can return true and false in case of func also, but we have to define data type.
Okay.
And whenever we are doing the multicast delegate, and one thing important that it will work as a FIFO, means the method you will add first, it will execute first. And second thing that if you want to add one method, then you have to do delegate name plus equal to. If you want to remove one delegate, then minus equal to. And in case of multicast delegate, method return type and delegate return type will be void. So, any question on delegate? Anyone?
What is the difference between event and delegate?
Yeah, we are coming on that. First, we will discuss the event, then delegate. Then we will see the difference between these two. Any other question related to delegate first?
No.
Okay, then let's move toward event.
Pankaj sir, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Continue, sir.
Any live example of a delegate? Any delegate? Simple delegate or a multicast delegate?
Like a simple delegate, we can say that I have to just do plus, right? I have to call one method, then we define as a single delegate. And if I have to suppose perform 2 tasks, I have to give discount as well as any other task which is related to discount and all. Like I have to print invoice also. I have to give discount and then print the invoice also. That time we can define multicast delegate. We will call one delegate. Under that, our 2 method will be encapsulated.
Yes, that is correct. But in interview, they ask like, what is a live example, real-time example?
Okay. So anybody who can give the live example of delegate? Gyan? No? Anyone? Pradeep, anyone? We have 15 participants. I think then we need to do a Google. I will do a Google and then I will revert you on the same.
Pankaj sir, one question from my side also.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the benefit of delegate? Why we use delegate in our programming language?
I want to call one method, not directly that method, right? I want that method will be encapsulated inside delegate. I don't want to expose someone my method that what exactly I'm doing inside delegate. Nobody will be aware. And
yes.
With the help of multicast delegate, we can perform a number of tasks. So that will be a kind of encapsulation also. So sometime interviewer asking that, hey, you know that what is the encapsulation? We give the answer that, hey, we can implement the encapsulation with the help of SS specifier, public, private, protected, internal. We can also say that, hey, encapsulation is best example as a delegate.
Okay.
So one question which Ajay sir is asking that any real life example of delegate?
Yes.
And so delegate are used for the callback. Main use of a delegate are callbacks. Means callback is like when we are working with a multi-threaded environment and we are in one thread we are sending some data and in second thread we are getting some data. So this is basically a callback and we can easily implement this via the delegate.
Okay, it means delegate with the delegate we can perform same task from the different ways. It means.
Sorry, I was away. Can I give a brief on this? So basically, if you're looking for a example of a delegate, so we have to go back to the Windows application. Somebody asked from the WPF, I suppose. So he should know about the Windows application. So in that Windows application, normally what we do, we bind the action with any particular button, and on the clicking of that button, we are calling the second function, what is performing the actual task. But this is called a callback type of system. But just because previously it was not that much type safe, that's why we introduced the delegate in our this is the means in C#. This is a fact that we started delegate from the Windows applications. So just because in Windows application for type safe environment, to making the type safe environment, we started the delegates, so that if somebody is calling any particular of task, any button is performing in particular task, on clicking on that particular task, we are connecting to that particular action. Means you'll think like that this delegate is nothing. Delegate is a set of instruction which is going to follow. Means this is going to do anything. Okay, but it's not direct. Means it's not a direct binding. It's allowed to do that. So for making this type safe and to making it more dynamic, we started with delegate. If somebody is clicking on any particular button, the delegate is getting fired. Like previously actions are also firing, but delegate means if you look on an action first and then delegate second, then you'll find that more difference in that. So what happening, any button is clicking, then any action is firing, but every time action to action firing is a types, means it's not that much type safe. So what we started with, on clicking on that button, we are firing the direct delegate, so that this can create a type safe environment for that application. Is it making sense to you?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, if we'll go with the delegates history, it started with Windows application only. So initially, while writing a Windows application, we have to means we are writing, we are designing the Windows form, and then on that button clicking, we are mapping it with the actions, and those actions are performing those work. And if we want to call anything second, we are calling the second function, and this called is a callback. But now with delegate we can directly connect with that. So this is my understanding. Might Pankaj will look more into it and give us more brief idea about it.
Any doubt in the delegate, anyone? No? Okay, then we should move toward next, that is event. So anybody who want to explain about event, that what is event in C# and what is the actual meaning of event?
Sir, as per me, event is to define to notify the someone or given a for particular action. When we
Right.
do some action, it gives some notification, sent to the notification.
Right. Event means whenever I do any action, when I do one action, then someone gets to notify, someone gets to the signal that, hey, this is going to happen. So it works basically publisher and subscriber, right? And we have
Yes.
we have one observer pattern also. So then the event is also working on
Pankaj,
the
may
way
I chip in? May I chip in?
Yeah.
So if you wanna look in a general way what events are, so I want to start with state. So we have a state. We all know the meaning of state. What it means? That the actual position of all component at client side is called state. Correct? By this we are defining that this is a stateful or stateless. When we are getting that okay, change has happened from the server side, we can get that okay, this change has happened, that's why this call is coming to us. This is called stateful, and else it's a stateless. So events are when there is a change in state. So mouse hover is also a state change, means on a client machine, anything hovered on any particular button, it means the state is change of that button, that it's hovered now. Okay, if something is clicked, it's clicked. So event, what its meaning of event, any change of a current state is event. Anything is happened to current state is an event. This is clear to all?
Yes.
Okay. So and when we say that event, so anything is changed, means while developing previous ASP applications also, and with this Windows application, either of WPF or later on this React and all those components, or even a JavaScript, what we decide that okay, mouse moved position, something like this. Mouse
Hello,
moved,
sir.
clicked, double clicked. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
My name is Mohit, sir. I am late. Sorry, sir. I am joining late the class.
Okay, no issue.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So the most popular events are, means in a general way, what's the maximum event which we are binding at our server side is clicked event. Most of the time we are binding an event at a server side is a clicked event. Apart of that, if you see that Windows application, either WPF application or previous ASP.NET applications, so there are multiple mouse move and all those events are there. So anytime you'll drag a button on WPF application, you click, and on a right hand side in property or event, you can find that there are multiple events. What are there? Means on click, double click, mouse moved, anything can be an event if it's changing the state. So if you have to remember event as a logical, anything changing at a client side, either by force or either by automatic. I mean, sometimes it can be automatic. We are triggering anything from the outside, that okay, color will change in a 5 seconds, so state is getting changed. This is an event on client side. So this is how event came in a picture in Windows application and ASP.NET and all those things. This is all from my side. Pankaj will lead you on technical.
Okay, so event is basically same, that it work on a publisher and subscriber model, and it follow the things which is related to observer pattern also, right? So while covering the event, we can, whenever somebody is asking the question that, hey, you have done the work on any design pattern, you can say that, yes, I have idea about observer pattern. Observer pattern is working on the same way as subscriber and publisher, means observer. I'm the observer, right? I will observe that and then I will notify someone that, hey, this is going on over there. And then delegate event is also encapsulate the delegate. So in the delegate, we define the function signature, and event is the handler method which get called, right? And when we are defining the event, some of the things which we need to take care, that when I am defining it, then event is a wrapper around a delegate, and event always depend on the delegate. And for making the things as a delegate, we need to use the event there. Like if someone have done the work in ASP.NET, right? Then whenever we double click on the button, that time it generate the event, right? It generate two event argument and that. So that is one, means it is generating the handler inside that. So anyone have anyone want to add something more in event? Ajay sir?
Yes, so event are the same, like events encapsulates the delegate. So we are both are working with each other. So basically through event we can make a publisher and subscriber model. Like suppose some event, someone is like sending some messages and someone is receiving some messages. So what event will do in this, like in case of the event, we can only listen that event. But if we are not making that delegate as an event, then we can do like some changes, right, from the receiver side. Like we can make the delegate as a null from receiver side. But if we are making that as a event, then we cannot do any changes through the receiver. So this is like main difference why we are using events with the delegate. That's it, sir.
Anybody who want to add some more value? related to event. That what is event? Event means anything. Whenever we like Gyan have given the example, Ajay sir have given the example that when we do mouse moving, like we change the position, click on click. Like we have seen a lot of example of event in JavaScript as well as in C# also. Like so that is a part of event. So anybody who want to add little bit more about event? Okay.
So,
Dharmen.
So event internally called the delegate.
Sorry, Dharmen, I was not able to understand you. Maybe some background noise.
I want to say event internally called the delegate.
Okay, your question is this, that event call a delegate, right?
Internally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So most of question say interviewer ask about the mostly try to be stuck in the event delegate in front of interviewer. How event and delegate communicate to each other, how event is called the delegate, how this process is going flow. So I want to know in brief how the event call the delegate and delegate give the do the some action on the calling of the event.
Okay. Let's take one example. Suppose you have a event and delegate, then you have method, right? And actual task will perform inside the method. And then what will happen? You design a class which will be as a delegate, and inside that you will define one event, right? Inside your class.
Yes, sir.
Then what will happen? Then you will define their process also, the actual method, right? And then you can call your event to invoke, right?
Yes, sir.
Then in the main method you will call your logic, and then in the delegate you will specify, and then you start the process. Okay.
Yes, sir. It means first of all I create the there is my method which will be called by the delegate, and delegate called by the event. This means now event modify to call the internally delegate, and delegate call my actual method.
Right. You will define a delegate, then you will define the event, and there will be one method. Inside that you will call the process, like your event, like that your event will get invoked in that. And then what will happen? You will call that class, and it means class means that my delegate, and then you will assign the method inside delegate by plus equal to. Then you will call that method, and your method will call the invoke. Like inside your method you have delegate, you have event.
Yes. Sorry guys, I'm asking very.
Pankaj sir, am I correct?
Right, sir. Whenever we define a string, that time if I will assign again value, then it will again allocate memory, again things will happen as a new string. What happen will in the string builder, everything will get append inside string builder. So their actual memory or allocation will be same. Only the value will change inside string builder. Right, Gyan?
Means difference is like string is immutable string builders are mutable, and we are using string builder when we are having like many operation, like we are doing some assigning multiple times or replacing some characters, so we can use string builder that time.
Right. Any other question? You got the answer first or not?
Yes, sir, I got. But this string is a as we know, immutable, and we replace the string replace the old value. It means, but my question is that I have assigned a string variable, and I have set set it as hello, and again after new line, I have I append value new in my current variable by adding plus equal to something extra like hello, how are you? Then we are seeing that value is adding. So the question interviewer always asks, what are the difference string? We are doing the same way. Then how you say that string and string?
Difference is in terms of the memory. In string, it will allocate a different memory allocation when we are replacing the existing value.
Might be Dharmendra.
Yes.
This example I have seen somewhere. You are referring to Stack Overflow or C# corner. Anything? Might be. Okay. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So okay. So basically, the primary difference between string and string pointer is mutable and immutable. So every time you are appending, you can think like something like this. Every time you are appending anything in a string, what it's going to do, it's completely erasing your memory and reassigning it to another memory. It's something like you have you are preparing any food, and every time you have to do any insertion of any particular ingredient, you'll put it back into bowl and put that ingredient in that, and again put it in a cooker. But what is in a string builder, what it do? So you'll put that cooker, and you put one ingredient, then second ingredient, then third ingredient, the fourth ingredient, and when everything is finished, you'll put it in on particular location. You got this example?
Yes.
Okay. So every time you are appending anything, in a short, every time you are appending anything, what it's doing, it's erasing that previous memory or making free that previous memory and creating a new memory location. But in a case of a string builder, it's not doing that. What it's doing, it's appending on that same location. So every time location. So in this picture, you have to see the memory location. What happening at the memory location?
Okay. In front of memory, in case of a string, always new memory will be old memory will be erased, and new memory will be
erased is only happening when garbage collector is doing their job. But what it's doing, it's changing its reference to a new location.
Okay,
you can see. Okay.
So, sir, can we check this by the programming if memory is going to referring?
Yes.
So in the future we will never forget this such type of concept,
so,
and we are
so this
able to define.
This is a task for you.
Yeah, I will try to this. Yes, I will do this, and I.
Okay. If you find anything fishy in that, connect to us and we'll explain why it happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I will do this. Okay. It's fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Dharmendra, can you see my
Yes,
screen?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we have given a string, and here we have given a string builder, right?
Yes. Yes.
Then here it is equal, right?
Yes.
And here there is no equal. We are just appending the things. Means whatever the memory is already allocated, just append inside that value.
Okay.
And here we are putting it equal to then whatever the previous is, then new one. What will happen? It will again refresh, again give the memory that perform the task it will perform. Here it will append only.
Okay. In this case, memory will be same. Other than in case of string, memory will be changed.
It will keep changing.
Yes, sir.
It will keep changing.
It will
Like
yes,
if
yes.
I have here.
I understand this concept, sir, because when as my mouse is moved to delivery moved to one string append, then the value of my previous will be changed.
Right. Then should we move next then?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank
you
you
so much, sir, for
So
briefing this.
anyone have any other question?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Yes.
Now we can move for the
Yeah, Pradeep,
event.
Pradeep continue. Pradeep have question. Pradeep
So
continue.
which one is better to use string or string builder?
It depends upon the requirement. If I have lot of things which keep changing, then we should go for a string builder. And if it is changing 1 and 2 time only, then we should go for a string.
Okay.
Any other question? Yeah. Yes, look, you are saying something. Continue. Continue.
Yeah. So sealed class will be, yes, I have a question. Sealed class is valid the rule of solid principle?
Maybe due to some network, I'm not able to hear you. Can you repeat, please, again? Question was related to sealed class, right?
I'm saying that sealed class. Yeah, sealed class is valid. That means valid the rule of solid principle.
Okay. So your question is that sealed class is means valid the rule of solid principle, right? Okay. First, we need to understand that what is sealed class. Means the class which I cannot inherit, right?
Yes.
Which only I have to create the object, then I can use. Then it will volatile the rule of open close principle. Everyone is agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
As we know that what is open close principle.
Yes.
And sometimes interviewer asks that, hey, can I inherit the sealed class? We can simply say that no. Sealed class means we just need to create a object of that, and whatever the property I have defined inside that, we can use that. Ajay sir, meanwhile, continue with the discussion of difference between event and delegate. I'm coming within 2 minutes. Hello.
Yes. Basically, seed class we can use while making the class as a like singleton pattern when we are using. So it is by default sealed, means no one can inherit that particular singleton class or a pattern. So it is also useful in that scenario.
Wondering if I'm some kind of a decoy to lure you out. I'm not as safe here. No need for any marathon man stuff. It's definitely safe, okay? No need to interrogate a man that's waited months and months just to talk to you.
Pulling a knife,
Any
Frank
other
walks over
question
to him, jabs it with his hand,
from anyone?
and cuts off the lid. He wipes off the blade on Micro's arm.
You're trying to intimidate me. And I'm not like reassuring you or
Frank eats beans off the knife.
your response isn't good.
Yeah, I am back now. So the question is how we do code review. So we have to discuss that code review also, right? How we do the code review.
Yes.
Anyone who can put some highlight about code review?
Yes,
Continue, Pradeep.
yes, in code review, we check the number of commented line removed from the code. First is the, and second point is we take care of the function that we are not executing more loops in the program, and we also take care the database call, how many calls are doing in our programs. So in my point of view, these are points in code review. Yes.
Yes, basically we are having a two type of code reviews. One is like manual and second is like a automated through the tools. So
Okay.
in manual we can check like are we using a string or a string builder? Are we using like are we having a comment proper or not? And we have disposed the connection or not, and that's it.
Yeah,
But
sir.
in case of
From my side, I will type. Each and everyone, we use the different technique in their organization for the code review. In my current project, we are using we created some checklist. On the basis of the checklist, we do the code review, like the variable which we defined and our coding standards. So we will define a variable in the form of camel case, and we are when we're doing the transaction on the screen, so we will log the transaction, and with the help of we have applied logging, proper logging or not, and we have to remove extra unused code, and other than things, we have also removed check the looping concept and the calling of the DB database connectivity, and how and there is a proper command for the every function. So when anyone can understand what this method is doing, use it for the what is the basic purpose of this. We have to such type of list we have. So we have follow all this in my current project. That's from my side.
Okay. So whenever we have a code review, first review is done by as a PR review, the colleague who is working with us, and then we have a checklist for Angular, for Web API, and for SQL also, if we are changing anything in the script. And for the C#, we have used the ReSharper, right? ReSharper.
Yes, sir. Yes.
As a third-party tool, where we define that the rule and regulation, the naming convention, all the things we define here, right? And then in the code review, we check the what is the unit test code coverage, whatever we are doing, that what is the coverage of that. Means 80% should be unit test should be there. And most of the things is already defined in the checklist. And while reviewing the code, if we get anything new that, hey, this is new, we need to add in the checklist, then we do a team discussion, and then we send that checklist for the code review then we add that point also in the code review checklist. So this is how we do that code review, right? Anyone have any questions on this?
Pankaj, what is the name of a tool that you
Resharper. Resharper.
It's Resharper, sir.
Any other tool anybody is using in their project?
In my project, also Resharper is using.
And for Angular, we are using TF-Lint.
No, sir. It
is inbuilt.
Yeah. Yeah. Gyan, would you like to put some highlight related to code review?
Yeah. So before going further, I always start from the beginning. Why we need a code review? This is an important thing. Means
Yes,
why
yes,
we
yes.
need code review. So mostly when somebody is asking in interview that okay, what you do in a code review, so instead of giving these type of tools name or checklist or something, if you start trying to explaining why we need a code review, it'll give a great impact to any interview. This is means if you start with a story and then give your solid points like tools and all those, it'll give you a movement. So if I have to start with a code review, so exactly why we need a code review. So code review is used for any organization to set their standard. That okay, we are dealing with this type of standard, and because of this standard, our code is so much efficient that it will not break in any code transfers. If somebody wants that, okay, we have written any code and we want to give it to somebody else, so it will not break in that. It will not break in any security point of thing. It will not break in reusability. So, and it will not break any of the module which we want to implement. So these are the 4 key areas that why we need a code review. So every company want that, okay, if some client is there and it want to pass this code to some other company for further integration and all those things, at that point of time, the second company will not say that, okay, the code which you have written here is not that much of standard. So that's why a company need the code review. With that, if something is new coming, instead of dealing with all previous things, means in a hampered manner, it should be have a end point without any type of loose ends, so that it can be scale up for the future also. It will not break any security point of view type, like any type of JWT, AWS token, any authentication authorization process, or any network security. These are the checks. Why we need this? So this is the actual thing when we're sitting at a project manager level and we are saying that, okay, we need a code review. At that point of time, it's in our head that, okay, this is the reason why we need a code review. So for one person started that we are doing it manually and all those things, we are checking, okay, all those comments are not here or here are not here. And the second person said that, okay, we are putting the checklist that, okay, these are the things like we have a naming convention, all those things, that everything is on, or we have some test cases for everything, 80% should pass in that. So we should have that. So what is this? This is a standard of any particular company. To achieving that, we do the code reviews so that it will not get hampered. But before going on that, what document we required for a code review? So basically, as per my understanding, the first document what we required for a code review is a branding document. So what is a branding document? Branding document says that, okay, I am this company, I have some standard, I have some thing. So if I go on, I'll come on the code review in some time, but this is what is branding. We have to understand the branding. Branding, we all know that we are having shirt with the name of Park Avenue and white shirt with the name of Park Avenue and blah, 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 multiple things. So what's a branding in that? The logo, the color, and all those things. Every M you are not seeing as a McDonald's. M with a specific red color and yellow base, we called it McDonald's. So this is called branding. So the same thing we required in a code level also, or in a design level also. So when we are doing a code review, we are putting it for both position, like at Angular end also, and for means like a front end also, and for a back end also. If specifically going on a back end only, what we start looking for that, okay, any code which we have written is readable or not. It can easily readable by other person. Let's suppose somebody gone and I want to give this project to somebody else, so he can read easily those things. It's following the desired design patterns or not. Whatever design pattern we followed, it's following those or things or not. It's having the accurate securities in that or not. What we have mentioned in document. It's not necessary that, okay, some people say that, okay, we'll make application more secure by putting extra security. It's not required when we are doing code reviews to assisting that, okay, this more security we have to put. That's not a great place to put that, okay, this more security we have to put here. This is a place where we want to put it. It's in a branding document or declaration standard document where we put these things, so that, or in the language of Pankaj, checklist. Okay, I have a checklist that, okay, it should go like something this, it will follow this principle and that principle or something like that. So first we'll look at, okay, it's readable, it doesn't have a junk code in that, and all those things. And then we'll come on security level. Okay, we have a correct security which we have mentioned in document or not. If it's having any loose end or so, then we'll report that, okay, the code will blast here, or we have not done the correct exception handling here. So these are the points which, according to me, we consider as a code review. That's from my side.
Okay. Then last question which we have, testing framework. Like in Angular, we do our testing framework by unit, Karma and Jasmine, right? And in Web API, we do unit testing, right? And unit. Anybody have done any other things related to testing? Like unit test. One we do a manual testing. Another we do as a automated testing, right? Yeah. So Anybody want to put some highlight about this?
So
Yes, Arvind.
what we easily see about the testing, that testing is for taking care that okay, application is running good or not, it's covering all the modules and all those things. So this is, we have two type of testing, manual and automated. Sometimes people are more curious about the automated testing, but I generally prefer manual first for writing the test cases when I'm sitting with my testing team during that thing. Just because all the logics we have to put there. Without logics, either NUnit test, XUnit test, any type of test, either it's Selenium, Karma, or anything will fail. So these are the means most common test work nowadays is the Selenium. I suppose you all heard about this Selenium.
Yes.
You heard about the Selenium or not?
Yes, yes.
Pankaj.
Yes.
Yes, heard about it.
Okay. In general, during the API and all those testing, means when we are doing a core or MVC, these type of thing, we use XUnit and unit testing in recent format till 2019. But when it's came to the microservice and all those things, but then in current picture, in current project scenarios, everything means any code can come from anywhere. We should have using the React, Angular at front end and something at a back end. So to starting from the front end means mostly people doing either in a manual testing or a back end testing. For back end testing, we have done it in, when we say that NUnit and XUnit testing, we do it in a code reviews also, just because it's a part of our code reviews also, that everybody is writing the test cases or not. So those are the tests. But when it's come to frameworks and all those things, so mostly Selenium framework, Karma, and NUnit, XUnit are the most famous frameworks which we use nowadays. For front end thing, Selenium and Python Selenium testing is viral nowadays. Means in that we put all those scenarios that if we'll click on this button, it will go somewhere on this page, and then that on this action it will go on that page. So in that we'll write a whole story in Selenium board, and that Selenium board will do that testing in a same manner. When we come on the XUnit and NUnit testing, we have used most of the time smoke and all those things in that, so that it can be easily done by that. So we write a small portion of actions which is calling that function, means a set of class which have in a set of action for a particular action, so that it's failing in this condition, it's passing in this condition, and we are putting, and on that NUnit and XUnit we are getting okay, all are passing, or anything is failing, or if anything is failing, then we are looking for the exception extracts for that, why it's failing and all those things. So this is how nowadays how everybody is doing the things. But this is my personal suggestion to you all. For end unit testing, means client side testing, if you'll put Selenium word, it will impact interviewer more, and in that you don't need to worry about much things. It's a very simple logical concept what you are putting, and everybody knows that okay, what's a DOM, and those are putting on a DOM also. Those are just manipulating DOM, that's it. And if you know about the DOM, it'll easy for you guys. This is all from my side, Pankaj.
Okay, then we will say now bye bye. And the next topic which we are going to cover that we will cover Auth 2.0 on next Saturday and Sunday. And some discussion we will do related to CSS and SAS, right? Because as a developer, sometimes we struggle to do work related to CSS. Then we will talk about that, how we can do little bit better, whatever we are doing as of now in CSS, how we can do something better, right? So we will discuss that also. Okay then, thank you everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So bye bye everyone. And we will
Bye.
catch you same time on next week. Okay, bye.